Hey everybody, Ed Homewood, Old Guy Hi-Fi channel. I hope everyone's doing well today. Today should be, well, it's a different kind of video. It's not a review. It's actually going to be a first take, first impressions of the Pearl Acoustics 7040 stereo amplifier. So sit back, relax, and we'll get started. Well, before we talk about this amp, I'd like to send a very personal thank you to Harley Lovegrove and to Ajay Verma at Pearl Acoustics. They've let me have this unit. This is actually a pre-production piece. It's the same unit they had at the Exponus show. So this isn't 100% production or finished goods. I think there's going to be some cosmetic differences, logos or whatever. But anyway, they were kind enough. I believe I'm the first reviewer, first YouTuber to have access to this amplifier. And for that, I'm extraordinarily grateful. So Harley and Ajay, thank you so very much. Well, as I mentioned in the thumbnail, this is an amplifier with a split personality. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I'll put specs up here. The basics are it is $7,000 to the US roughly. It's 6,000 pounds, so you have to do the currency conversion. There'll also be a shipping charge added to that. And I don't know about any taxes, but you can reach out to the folks at Pearl Acoustics and they'll tell you all about it. As you can see, this thing is stupid powerful. It is really powerful. And it's based on two of the Purify 7040 modules. And I believe these 7040 modules are Bruno Puzzi's latest and greatest. And there's a whole story behind it. We'll talk about that in a minute. It is a full dual mono design. I'll insert a picture of the inside. I'm not opening it up in this video. Actually, I'm not going to be able to open it up at all because, again, it's not a production product. It's a pre-production kind of prototype unit. So if I showed you the inside, it wouldn't necessarily be representative of what you'd get when you purchase one. But it is very cool running. I've run it on some very difficult speakers. You saw in the B-roll, I have a pair of TAD ME1 TXs in. I've run it on the Big Martin Logan Impression 11 ESLs. I've run it on the Magnapan LRS. I've run it on the CSS Crichton 3 TDXs. I've run it on Neil Blanchard's little tweeter mid 4-inch transmission line floor standers. I ran it on the Opera Callis while I had it here. What else have I run it on? That's pretty much everything. There's a lot of stuff. Anyway, this thing can drive whatever you want to drive it. As you can see, 2-ohm stable, 950 watts into 2 ohms. It's amazing. It is, as I mentioned, dual mono, but it is a fully differential, input to output, fully differential amplifier design if you use the balanced XLR inputs. Now, it has single-ended in and balanced, and you can switch between the two. Little switch under the front panel here that allows you to do that. So, again, fully balanced. Now, it has this split personality I talk about. It's got two modes. One's called dynamic, and the other one I'm officially calling Old Guy Hi-Fi setting. So they call it a relaxed mode. In the dynamic mode, what it does is the signal, the music signal is routed through 4 custom-made Pearl Acoustics Sparkos op amps. Looks very much like a 2590, but I think it's a custom unit that Andrew made for these guys. That's in dynamic mode. When we go to Old Guy Hi-Fi mode, little orange light comes on down here. That runs through a fully bespoke AJ design or Pearl Acoustics design differential input stage, and it is wonderful. So I hope Harley and Ajay are listening. We've got dynamic mode and we got Old Guy Hi-Fi mode. This is handmade in Great Britain. Beautiful unit. They'll ship from Great Britain, so you'll have to check on shipping charges. It does come with a 5-year full parts and labor warranty. Now, I did mention there's a story behind this 7040 amp module, and I want to talk about that real quick. Well, there's a bit of a story behind this 7040 amplifier. So the idea for the amplifier started with a challenge. Back in February 2023, Harley Lovegrove, the founder, obviously, and loudspeaker designer of the formerly known as Sibelius, the speaker formerly known as Sibelius, now known as the Model 1, he put a call out on one of his YouTube videos, and he asked amplifier designers around the world to create a front-end circuit that could finally bring out the full emotional and sonic potential of Bruno Puzzi's highly acclaimed Purify 7040 Class D amp module. So why the challenge? Well, the Purify modules are technically brilliant, clean, powerful, ultra-low distortion. Many listeners felt there was something kind of missing. They delivered detail in spades, very highly detailed, but not always the emotional connection or musical engagement you'd hope for when you buy a really good high-quality hi-fi gear. So one of the big issues was gain. On their own, the modules just don't have enough of it to work well with many preamps. And I didn't really have that issue. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So the feeling was it was leaving much of the system's potential untapped and untouched. Well, fast forward 2.5 years, and it was Ajay Verma of Pearl Acoustics who picked up the mantle. He is an engineer, audio enthusiast, and obviously a great designer. He cracked the code. Ajay developed a front-end design that not only met Harley's high expectations, but elevates this Purify module into something truly special. Well, the result of Ajay's hard work was the 7040 amplifier. It is a very versatile, no-compromise amplifier. It was designed to drive any speaker out there, and it does. I mean, whether it's a single driver model like the Model 1, the Pearl Acoustics Model 1, formerly known as the Sibelius, or a planar magnetic, I have those. Electrostatics, I have those. Studio monitors, I have those. This thing can handle it without any problem, with great authority, with beautiful clarity, and amazing grace. I feel like I should break into a rendition of Amazing Grace. I won't. The goal of this was simple but very ambitious: to combine the technical prowess of Class D amplification with the warmth, space, and emotional pull you often get only from high-end tube amplifiers. With the 7040, you get it all. You get all of that plus a really tight, powerful bass, dynamic range that's just phenomenal. It is amazing. Well, I'm going to go into a deeper dive when I do the full review. It really gives whatever speaker you've got connected to is going to get the best possible signal, and it will provide all of the amplification, the current, the gain, everything that any speaker will need to perform at its absolute best. So you get super tight bass. On the TADs, the bass is amazing. On the Crichtons, the bass was the CSS Crichton 3 TDX. The bass was phenomenal. I haven't had the subwoofer hooked up in here for probably a good 3 weeks now. It's just I'm sitting where it normally is. I haven't needed it. This thing this amplifier has enough power to give the best speakers in the world the right signal so that they can perform at their utmost. Now, mid-range clarity is amazing. The high frequencies are amazing. Now, in dynamic mode, you're going to get a lot of detail. Never strident, never fatiguing, and never really kind of too much detail, even for me. I can listen to it very nicely. A lot depends on the speaker. I found with the Magnapan LRS, the detail mode is the best mode for that, to get a little extra out of it. And I have coming in sometime, and I think I'll still have this amplifier, I have coming in one pair each of Magnapan 2.7i and one pair of 2.7x, and we're going to do side by side, and I hope to be able to use this amp for that, and then find out exactly dynamic and relaxed which one's going to be best with the Maggies. Now, on the Martin Logans, because they have a powered subwoofer, that's no problem, but this gives an amazing signal. And through the mid-range frequencies and upper frequencies, I found that I actually preferred the relaxed mode a little bit better than dynamic, although dynamic was very good for detail. Now, the TAD ME1 TX that I have in right now, I just literally, I'm filming this the same day that I put those together and set them up. So I've only got a brief couple-hour listen to them, and they're remarkable, and they definitely relaxed mode benefits them. So I just think the fact that this does have that split personality, it's got the dynamic mode for folks who want detail, and it's got the old guy hi-fi mode for folks that want that smooth, really lush, really cool sound. Now, I'm going to talk about briefly some of the pairing I did with it, and then we'll kind of wrap this up and get out of here. So I've had a bunch of tube front-end units in, because I was doing I did a review, I've got reviews of, and they're filmed. I don't know if you've seen them yet. You probably haven't, because I'm going to release this one pretty much right away to coincide with Pearl Acoustics announcement of the unit's availability. But I had a Rogue RP5, I've had a Black Ice F360, which you'll see right here, and I also have, and it's over there, the Audible Illusions Modulus M3B preamplifier, and for a brief period of time I had a Schiit Kara in to try solid state. This amplifier does well pretty much with whatever preamp you put on it, but I did find for me personally that a tube front end just expanded. This thing can throw an amazing image. Combine it with a good tube front end, like the RP5 or the Modulus M3B or the F360 from Black Ice. It adds a holographic, a lushness, a warmth, a soundstage that defies your room boundaries. Amazing. On the Magnepans, unbelievable. On the Martin Logans, oh my gosh, the soundstage is just huge and enveloping and just so rewarding and so beautiful. Now, the TADs I've only had in, literally I've only listened to for a couple hours, but first impressions are amazing soundstage with those as well, but I got to dig into them deeper. And when I do the final review of this, or do the final review of the TADs, we'll talk about that more. But again, I think a good tube front end or a really, really well-designed kind of warmish solid state front end would be really good on this. Like I said, I thought the RP5 was a magnificent combination. I thought the Audible Illusions, a really good combination. It's an older unit that I've got. It's from 2016. And it sounds really good, but it doesn't have remote control, and it's got a volume knob for left and right channel, so it's a little bit annoying to use, but it sounds really good when it kind of, once you get it dialed in. And then the Black Ice F360, which I think is a phenomenal piece, and that uses, I've got a 1969 GE 6SN7 in there right now, but that's got all the nice, goes in as and goes out as, and remote control for the volume and all the other stuff. So that was a great combination. Honestly, no matter what I put into this, and I did run a DAC preamp into it, and that's where I kind of really noticed that the digital volume control on that DAC preamp just killed the sound. This thing is totally revealing. You know what? It will, in direct mode, it will give you a deep look, a magnifying glass look at your recording. If the recording's not good, it's not going to gloss over it at all. In relaxed mode, you get all of that detail, but in just a very much smoother presentation. And I think that's just, man, does that fit my wheelhouse? That's why we're going to officially call this, AJ, we're going to officially call this old guy hi-fi mode. Anyway, this is a beautiful amplifier. So let me do this. Let me tell you a little bit about Pearl Acoustics in case you're not familiar with them. Well, for those of you who aren't familiar with Pearl Acoustics is based in Belgium. It was founded by a gentleman named Harley Lovegrove. Harley, and they're most well known for their Model 1 speaker. It used to be called the Sibelius, which is a handcrafted single driver speaker of Harley's design. And Harley's a British-born engineer, designer, musician, and an amazing recording engineer and producer. He founded the company with the goal of bringing very natural, very emotionally engaging sound into people's homes. His approach combines precision engineering. The Model 1 is very precisely engineered, but with an artisan's touch, using sustainable materials and minimalist design principles to create the loudspeakers, and now obviously amplifiers, that let the music speak for itself. And I like that phrase. So Ajay Verma is the actual designer of this. Now, the challenge was, Harley put out there, make something that works with Bruno's 7040 amp modules. So the key thing here is Ajay's front end design for the amplifier, and that is where the magic happens. Obviously, Bruno Puzzi's engineered the 7040s, and they're remarkable, but Ajay brought this. Man, he put some secret sauce in this thing. This is an amazingly well-designed amplifier. It doesn't sound Class A, even with a solid state front end, unless you put it in dynamic mode. But then, man, you really got to listen deep into it. And maybe on a really bright pair of speakers like Focal or something like that, it'll have a little of that glare. But in my experience, in my time with it, not at all, not even a little bit. So I think this amplifier, it certainly represents Pearl Acoustics' ongoing mission to bridge technical excellence and musical realism. I like that phrase too. It is remarkable. Now, I've had this for, as I mentioned, quite a long time. And I will say this, and this is, again, isn't the full review, but I will say with my time with it, with all those different front ends and all the different sources I fed it and all of the different speakers I've put with it, that I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not sure there's a better amplifier upwards of maybe $18,000 to $20,000 that will compete with this. It is that good. That front end design is so remarkable. And the fact that it's got the dynamic mode and the old guy hi-fi mode, man, it is remarkable. Anyway, so that's my first look, first impressions of the Pearl Acoustics 7040. Well, again, a big thank you to Harley and Ajay at Pearl Acoustics. Guys, you've been so generous with me, and I can't thank you enough for it. I've been a very lucky, very fortunate guy to be able to have this and listen to it as early as I got it. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully be willing to give me a like and your subscription. That would be very great. I would be grateful for that. Thanks so much to my channel members, my subscribers, and my viewers. You guys amaze me all the time. There will be a link to the Pearl Acoustics website. I have no affiliation with them, but if you're interested in getting more information, there will be a link to their website. You can dig in, reach out to them, find out all the particulars if you're interested in purchasing, timelines, availability, all of that other kind of stuff. There was no music in this. I will tell you that it really doesn't matter. Everything I played through this was wonderful. So in the video description, there will be, and in the pinned comment, there will be a link to the channel membership if you wish to join the channel. If you wish to support the channel, if you're watching on your device or on a computer, at the bottom of the video window, you'll see a thank you button. If you'd like to thank me, you can. I'd be grateful for that. There are some affiliate links in the video description. You know the drill on those. There is a link to the Community Post playlist. Please check it out. There's some wonderful music there. Some really wonderful music. Comment. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Where are you at? Does what I say make sense? I think it does. I think this is a truly remarkable, absolutely could be, would be, could be, should be, maybe an end game amp product for me, without question. It's just absolutely wonderful. So anyway, comment, let me know your thoughts. I've covered all the bases. Again, thanks to Harley and Ajay. That's everything. Yep. Please like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram if you wish. My name is Ed Homewood. This is the Old Guy Hi-Fi channel, and it is, as I always tell you, it is your duty to yourself, your obligation to put on some really beautiful music. Just sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, and just have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your time. I am extraordinarily grateful for it.